Brilliant. That's us recording now. Okay, so today on the Business Spotlight, I've got Phil Anderson from Phil Anderson Financial Services. Welcome, Phil. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Brenda. How's things?
Very good, very good. So the Business Spotlight, it's about letting people know what you do and how you do it and what the challenges are you've been facing. So it's kind of does what it says on the tin, financial services.
Yeah, we're independent financial advisors. So we kind of help people retire comfortably. That would be the main thing that we do. Also help people buy their dream house. So we do mortgages, pensions, investments. We're independent advisors. So the great thing, if somebody comes to us, we can research the whole marketplace to find the best products that's out there for them. So busy times at the minute, which is good for us.
Brilliant. How long have you been doing that then, Phil?
Over 12 years now. It's just passing so quickly, but I really love what I do. So I think that's probably part of the reason why it's gone so quickly.
So you've got a team of advisors, yeah?
Yeah, we've got 10 advisors in total and a total staff of 16 at the minute. So it's fairly grown. I started off just in myself in my kitchen originally all those years back. And it's amazing how it's kind of developed and grown in that time.
I think we met probably just not long before the pandemic. So you've really grown since then as well, haven't you?
We kind of, at one point, we almost took a step backwards to go forwards again. Years ago, it was just myself, and then we took on an admin person, then we took on our first mortgage advisor, then another financial advisor. So the team's kind of grown really sort of a good pace, but I'm finding over the last wee while, the organic growth is it's almost snowballing at the moment, which is great. And I put a lot of that down to the business coaching that I've done over the years. I remember used to use a chap, Kenny Graham. He was my ActionCOACH. He was my first coach, and it set the grounding for everything that's kind of came since then. So lucky that we're in a line of work where there's always good demand, but it's just going from strength to strength.
Brilliant. Well, I didn't plant that answer about ActionCOACH, so
honestly, I'm a big advocate for coaching, and ActionCOACH is brilliant. I've tried other coaching firms and coaches over the years, but I just like the structure of the ActionCOACH stuff. And honestly, I'm a huge advocate for it. And I really think everybody should have a business coach if they're in business.
So what would you say to somebody that's thinking about it and not quite decided to take on a business coach?
Hey, I think when you're younger and less experienced at running a business, you probably look at it as a cost, whereas now I look at it as a benefit to me. It's great to have somebody that's actually there that I can discuss things with. It's good for me to have somebody to hold me accountable as well, because it's easy to take your foot off the gas. I mean, over the last few weeks, the business is going well, but I feel like I haven't been working on the business as much, and I've been working in it too much. One of the best things I ever did was actually stop advising clients, leave that for the advisors that's here. So my job is just running things, but it's easy to get bogged down and stuff. We had a marketing chap, so since he left, I've been doing press releases. I've been doing a bit more on the marketing side, and I enjoy doing that sort of stuff, but there's an awful lot of other things that I could be doing as well.
So your business coach is helping you to focus on the right things?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So talking about marketing, so there's something that I really wanted to talk to you about, because we're both podcasters.
Yeah.
So why did you start your podcast?
It's funny, initially, the main reason was that we were going to get the podcast transcribed, and that was to help with the website SEO. So that was the initial sort of thing, but it's not worked out like that. We've never actually had it transcribed or put onto the website. In the early days, a bit of it was kind of to build my own personal brand, but I would say I love helping people, and the podcast's been a great platform to be able to do that. And I'm amazed how many folk listen to it. I think last month we had about 11,000 downloads, and and it's getting listened to all over the UK as well. Initially I thought, when I get a lot of people listening to it, but it just, again, it seems to be almost snowballing at the minute as well. And it generates some leads for the business. But again, it's really something that the reason that I did it was more just to try and help people as much as anything.
Brilliant. So if anybody actually wants to get some learnings around financial management, where do they find your podcast?
Yeah, the podcast is called the UK Personal Finance Show with Phil Anderson. You can get it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. It's on pretty much most of the places where you would get your podcast. So just type in UK Personal Finance Show with Phil Anderson. The good thing is there's episodes that will be relevant to some people and episodes that isn't really so relevant to others, but there's something in there for everyone somewhere along the lines.
So I guess it's about educating people about managing their finances and things like that. What's the biggest thing that you find that you're needing to educate your customers with?
I think a lot of people don't really realize what a financial planner and financial advisor can do for them. So that's one of the biggest sort of things. And you know, that's a great thing with the podcast as well. It's just promoting financial advice in general. I've actually had people from other mortgage brokers, other financial advisors come on as guests as well. So it's good because it's there just to promote financial advice. And that would be one of the challenges that some people think that we do, the sort of things that maybe an accountant does, or they don't really understand what we can help with. So that's one of the great things with the podcast, is that it's promoting that as well.
I think I seem to remember that the statistics are shocking, the number of people that actually take financial advice. Is that right?
It's funny. I was speaking to the guys in the office this morning. But one of the things, I'm waiting to record a podcast episode tomorrow on the ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting. And we were actually saying, like, here, a lot of our clients are kind of aged 50 plus. The younger generation didn't have as much wealth and pension pots. And part of that, I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of apathy from them. But that's one of the things we want to do, is try and appeal to younger people and say, look, you need to speak to a financial advisor. I think the industry in general, I mean, some financial planning firms will only deal with people if they've got maybe 250,000 or 400,000 pounds in wealth. And I guess for me, I want to try and make financial advice accessible to more people, and whether that's through things like the podcast, but we don't have any minimum wealth value here, which makes us a little bit different from a lot of firms. But it's trying to embrace the technology. I mean, this chat GPT thing, when I was looking at that this morning, I asked it to write me a press release, and it did it. And I was like, I just need to make a couple of tweaks. It's quite scary. And I think in the future, I can see the younger generation possibly using things like that to say, write me a financial plan. My age is this. I want to retire at this age. And it's just scary, the technology. But at the same time, you've got to embrace it moving forward as well.
So for anybody who's watching who goes, what on earth is Chat GPT? It's artificial intelligence, isn't it? It will write articles that you tell it what you want, and it comes up with the text for you.
I've been using it over the last week, and you can put in, write a social media post on pensions for people in the northeast of Scotland, but do a funny twist to it, and it'll come up and it'll actually give you it. It's crazy. So I guess it's trying to embrace the technology and use it. But at the same time, I guess for me in my business, I see it as an opportunity, but it's also a wee bit of a threat as well, because there may come a point where people will think, right, I don't need to speak to an advisor. I'll just go online and do stuff myself. So it's interesting times, that's for sure.
So are you an advocate for looking at the technology, bringing in the systems that are going to benefit in your business? Yeah,
you want to try and make things, people want things to be as easy as they can these days. And as less time consuming as they can. And if you can use technology to help with that, then that's one of the great things. Some people are scared of technology, so there'll always be a generation that will want to maybe sit down with someone face to face and speak to them. But it's looking at that technology and thinking, right, how can we use that to make our processes more efficient, to help the client outcomes become better? So no, I really want to try and embrace it as much as I can.
Awesome. So what have been the biggest challenges that you've faced in business then, Phil, over the 12 years you've been going?
Partly getting the right staff. That's been a slight challenge. But we took a decision to try and train up some advisors ourselves. It's such a, when I say competitive marketplace, there's probably more demand than there is supply of advisors. So that's quite challenging. But we've had a couple of girls that we've trained up for scratch. They're getting on great. So that's been really good. Other challenges for us is things like our professional indemnity insurance. The cost of that is quite expensive. And it's a shame because that's down to the failings of other advisory firms in the past. We often get hit with some quite big levies from the financial ombudsman and things as well. And that's to pay for some of the advice firms in the past that maybe haven't done things as compliant as what we would do them. So there's been a few challenges there, but marketing, we've had some challenges with that, made plenty of mistakes over the years. I remember years ago, I tried radio adverts. Just now we've got TV adverts on. And I don't know, like when we did the TV adverts recently, I said to the guys, I goes, look, I personally didn't think this is where we should be spending our money. We've spent over £14,000 on TV adverts, and the guys are like, oh, but it's great. People are making comments that they've seen our advert. But I was like, yeah, but how much leads is it actually generating? And I look at it and I think, if you give me £14,000, I could do like Google pay-per-click, retargeting ads, so much other things I think that would generate more leads into the business. But you learn from your mistakes. That's the thing. Or as long as you do learn from them, that's what you want.
You've got to test and measure, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we've done a lot over the last couple of years. It's not always about growth. Sometimes it's about improvements and how you can tweak things. And this year, I mean, yeah, we want to keep growing the business more, but we want to make improvements. We've implemented a back office system, try to put in like almost systems and processes. And that, like you say, test and measure is a huge thing. So we measure every single lead that comes into the business. We know where it's came from, do well with client referrals and existing clients coming back, which is great. That would be our kind of core thing. But no, it's good to test and measure things and see what works and see what doesn't work.
So when you were growing up, Phil, did you always want to be a business owner?
It was always at the back of my mind. I kind of, do you know what? I wanted to do it, but I never had the bottle to actually do it. And I worked for a large solicitors firm. I got paid off there. And then I thought, right, do I get a job? I actually got offered a job at RBS, but I thought, no, I'm going to go out on my own. And it's the best thing that could ever have happened to me. I just never had the bottle to do it. I remember sitting at one of the firms, the solicitor firm I worked for had about 200 staff. I remember sitting at one of their, I think it was maybe like their 25th anniversary dinner. And at that point, there's about 200 staff and a partner on each table. And I remember sitting thinking, oh, imagine how good it would be to be one of the two guys that started this business. And I always had that thought, and I thought, I want that one day. But like I say, I never had the bottle to actually do it. So getting paid off was the push that I needed to go on and do it. And I love what I do now. And I love having my own business. And I've always loved being in sort of financial advice and helping people.
So have you got a timescale planning to get to that 200 staff then?
You know, I remember once saying to my son a few years back, oh, what have 200 people working for us? And at that time, he kind of like laughed, oh, that'll never happen. But do you know what? If you really want it to happen, it can. I guess for me, I'm at the point where I think, yeah, if we got up to maybe about 25, 30, I'd be happy with that. I mean, you could do more. I mean, if you really wanted to have 200, you could go for it and do it. Occasionally, I think, right, I want to spend more of my time at home with family, going on holidays. I know the sacrifice it would take to get it up to that kind of level, but I've still got big plans for growing the business going forward. And, you know, I'm really ambitious. There is times where I think, oh, that would be good. But there's other times I'm like, yeah, get up to maybe like 25, 30, and that would probably be a good number for our firm here, I would say.
Fantastic. So you touched on it. My next question is, do you have any advice for your 18-year-old self? Or I guess maybe for your sons, they're coming up on approaching that.
Funny, my son's 18, my oldest son, and he's kind of in a bit of limbo just now. He doesn't know what he wants to do. But one of the good things is that he kind of does know that he wants to make good money and have a good career, but he doesn't know what in. And I keep saying to him, it's like, look, just go for it, try it and do it. And at that age, I don't know, I never had the bottle. You didn't have the experience at that age, but you can learn. And I'm still learning. I'm 46 now, and I'm still learning things all the time. So I would say a bit of advice would be just to go for it.
Absolutely. And you don't have to be 18 to be listening to that advice.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say you can start a business 50s, 60s, it doesn't matter. KFC is always the great example. I think he founded it in his 60s. So the age is no barrier to anything, that's for sure.
I didn't know that about KFC, so yeah. I will remember that. Thank you very much for that wee nugget. Oh, see what I did there? Oops, have I lost you, Phil?
No, I'm still here.
You're still there.
Still here.
Good. So that's brilliant. Thank you very much for being on the Business Spotlight today, Phil. It's really interesting, and actually I could talk to you for an awful lot longer.
Oh, definitely. I know.
We'll have to do another one sometime.
No, it's been really good, Brenda. Thanks for asking us on.
Right.